and increases accessibility and independence. Through this program, Rebuilding Together works with older adults to provide no-cost preventative home repairs so our neighbors can safely age in place in the homes and communities they love. Provide no-cost preventative home repairs so our neighbors. To learn more, visit rebuildingtogether.org/safe-at-home. No-cost preventative home repairs so our neighbors. To learn more, visit rebuildingtogether.org/safe-at-home.
Weathers, we will start to put the recent wet weather behind us for our Monday. Morning cloud cover gradually giving way to some afternoon sun. Temperatures still a bit on the cool side with mid and upper 70s across the area. Here we are then overnight seeing some areas of fog possible with mid to upper 50s. 82 in sun on Tuesday, getting back closer to average. A slight chance for rain Wednesday, a better chance come Thursday.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hasselson Studios. Sorry for that little quick technical difficulty. Now we want to thank Mark Watts for being on the program. Do appreciate that. Over the weekend we got some viewer comments that I didn't mention. Hold on. Let me get those all together. Got a little distracted. Rick writes in, good morning, Frank. Oh boy, Trump cancels, good morning, by the way. Trump cancels another attack against Iran. He claims there's a peace deal breakthrough on the horizon. It's more like the stock market will shoot up and oil prices will fall and dastardly Donald will make more money. Fraud. Saw a Jim Jordan interview. That guy just loves to argue. Let's see how much he argues when control of the House changes hands. Uh-oh, Trump and Thune are having a little tiff. Gonna start getting ugly if it can get any uglier. Have a good weekend, or have a good week. Wishful thinking there on my part. Rick. Comment from a different viewer. Where is it? No, I thought I had it. Oh, there we go. Lynn writes in, good morning, Franco. Good morning. I was quite aggravated by President Trump falling for the latest peace negotiation. In my opinion, it has nothing more than a stall tactic. The leadership fractured as it has no intention of normalizing or peace as Western society views the world. The only thing is complete annihilation of the country, and then possibly moderate people can take power. Thank you. Thank you, Lynn. I appreciate that. All right. We're talking about the Democrat Party and this infighting, the Civil War. Well, on ABC's This Week, political consultant Donna Brazile, you might remember Donna Brazile, she was actually the head of the Democrat Party at one point. George Stephanopoulos said, Donna, we've seen these insurgents from the Democrat Socialists of America making a lot of headway in House primaries. Al-Sahad in Michigan is not formally a socialist, but he's from the progressive wing. How much is that going to hurt Democrats in the fall? Donna Brazile said, well, first of all, George, when you look at the DSA, which is not the Democrat Party, so I had to go online to figure it out. They ran 29 candidates. They lost 11. They've won 7, and there's still an opportunity for them, if they play their cards right, maybe to pick up 3 or 4 more seats. The problem right now is the Democrat Party must define itself and make sure that we don't get caught in this socialist wave, which, popping up here, there, and everywhere. But I think Michigan is going to tell us a lot about this current electorate. We know they're angry, they want change, and both candidates are trying not to allow the labels to define them. Ms. Stevens said, I'm not a moderate, I'm a populist. Mr. Abdul said, I'm not a progressive, I'm a populist. They want to capture this anger, and they want to see if they can ride it to the polls. So George Stephanopoulos said, we've seen a Democrat insurgent. We've been part of the Democrat, Brazile said, establishment. Well, that young man at the end said, well, Trump won. That's his Al-Sahad. It's going to be difficult. He will have to unite his party, the party. He's going to have to bring the establishment wing back on board to his side. And he's going to have to, I think, do a better job of messaging for the fall in order to win swing voters. Michigan is a purple state. It's going to be tough. Now, DSA candidate Malat Quiros brushed aside concerns about communists inside the Democrat Socialists of America. arguing Republicans were using that issue to blunt the socialist movement's growing influence ahead of the midterm elections. This was on PBS's Firing Line. The host asked Quiros how she addressed criticism that some DSA members, including roughly half of its national leadership, identify as communists. Quiros said, yeah, well, some members of the Democrat Party are proudly proclaiming themselves capitalists. And it's a big tent, right? But again, at the end of the day, it's up to the voters. Until a self-proclaimed communist actually wins an election, then it's just noise from the Republican Party. There's no one who's actually winning with that. Quiros was asked directly whether she was a communist after citing President Trump's characterization of the movement as hardcore, godless communists. No, I'm not a communist, Quiros said. Quiros attributed the Republican attacks to concerns that the DSA's economic message was gaining support among voters. Because I think the Republican Party, and frankly, the oligarchy that largely stands behind the Republican Party, can see that our message of, in its most basic form, economic populism, is actually resonating with voters. Quiros defeated 15-term Representative Diane DeGette in the Democrat primary for Colorado's heavily Democratic 1st Congressional District. Quiros has become the 28th candidate endorsed by a far-left group to win a Democrat primary election this cycle. The DSA's 25-member National Political Committee serves as the organization's primary political leadership. The group's newly launched Workers Deserve More program calls for abolishing the Senate, replacing the president and the Supreme Court with institutions selected by Congress, granting amnesty to all illegal immigrants, and defunding the Department of War. Quiros said members did not necessarily support every plank approved by the organization. This has been the talking point. Who was it? Was it Ken Martin? Last week, who said, oh, not everybody believes that extreme party platform. It's what they came out with. It's what they've endorsed. Our platform is one that is voted on in a democratic way through our members. And it's one where almost certainly that not every single member actually agrees with the entirety of the platform. Now, right now in Texas, that James Telrico, the Democrat Senate hopeful, is right now 3-point lead over the GOP, Ken Paxton, the Republican Ken Paxton. Telrico edged out Paxton 51 to 48% in a Fox News poll of registered voters last week that also showed Governor Greg Abbott in a close matchup against Democrat Gina Hinojosa 50 to 49. Democrats haven't won statewide in Texas in some 3 decades and have long dreamed of flipping the state's Senate seat blue. They came close in 2018 when Senator Ted Cruz squeaked out a win over Beto O'Rourke, remember that name, by about 2.5 percentage points. But now they're hoping that a blue wave in the 2026 midterm election, coupled with Paxton's baggage, will get him over the finish line. Telrico has a 0.9 percentage point edge over Paxton in the latest Real Clear Politics polling aggregate. Democrats need to flip 4 seats to retake control of the Senate. They had traditionally been eyeing North Carolina, Maine, Ohio, and Alaska, but none of those races are slam dunks, and Democrats are worried that they could lose a seat in Michigan. So there you are. Now, Victor Davis Hanson said that Democrats' hatred of Trump created this, quote, socialist monster, and now it's turning on them. Voters' affordability fears are supposedly fueling the Democrat Party's new strident socialism. Yet annual inflation during former President Joe Biden's 4 years peaked at over 9%, while prices at some key staples rose by 30% over his tenure, all to silence from the left. The socialists weren't just quiet during Biden's term, they were themselves responsible for his rampant inflation. They had implemented an inflationary de facto third Obama term, ramming through the most radical and costly agenda in decades under the veneer of Biden's cognitively challenged waxen effigy. So the current Jacobian takeover of the Democrat Party was not sparked by concerns about affordability, at least not if affordability means a middle-class struggle to buy a house, a car, or groceries. Instead, the socialist moment is merely the logical culmination of the years of boutique radicalism within the Democratic aristocracy. Almost every weaponized scam and national hysteria in the last 2 decades was amplified and spread by mainstream Democrats, who have allowed over 10 million border jumpers into the country, illegal, unvetted, and instantaneously dependent on the welfare state. Who gave us multiple genders and biological males showering with teenage girls or female prisoners? Who sloganeered about defund the police and no cash bail? All this was about as radical as it gets. The Democratic establishment's unhinged hatred of Donald Trump helped birth the socialist, communist Frankenstein monster that's now devouring its mad scientist creators. By any means necessary was a Democrat mantra over a decade ago. By 2016, the Democrat leadership and the Clinton campaign were hatching the Steele dossier farce to warp an election. In 2020, the Democrat deep state fabricated the farcical claim that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation, a hoax that this time around likely did alter the election. Then came 4 unhinged years of anti-Trump lawfare. All those perversions of the legal system were accompanied by a host of mainstream Democrats, retired generals, politicos, and athletes shouting that Trump was a Nazi, a fascist, a traitor, or a Putin asset. 3 would-be assassins got close to killing Trump, near-death encounters that elicited unapologetic applause for their attempts. Murderers themselves were normalized as leftist icons, as seen by Luigi Mangione. Yet the establishment Democrats apparatus can they calm this water, or do they continue to boil? It was Chuck Schumer who threatened conservative Supreme Court justices, sounding more like a pink-haired anti-ICE street protester than a U.S. senator. No surprise that 2 years later, a left-wing would-be assassin turned up at Kavanaugh's home. Maxine Waters urged the public to bird dog Trump administration officials and harass them whenever they were seen in public, in a restaurant, an apartment store, at a gasoline station. Then there was soon-to-be Vice President Kamala Harris egging on the violent George Floyd demonstrations, saying, quote, "This is a movement, I'm telling you, and everyone beware, because they're not going to let up, and they should not." So the crazed new socialists are brazenly broadcasting the old agendas: open borders, mass amnesties, defunding the police, ending fossil fuel, seeking to destroy the Senate and Supreme Court, scapegoating whites and white privilege, and adding a new element, anti-Zionism, and indeed anti-Semitism. America will soon see how this insanity works out. All right, we got to take a short break. Wow, we're moving fast this morning. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
I had to pack up all my things. I had to leave my home. And I never knew where I was going next. It felt like I never even had a say. But then you came along.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you. Learn how you can help at nationalcasagal.org.
Big day of smooth jazz awaits you at the Ferrario Elmira Jazz Festival. Join us at Thorne Street Park Saturday, August 15th for chart-topping jazz keyboardist Brian Simpson and soprano saxophonist Marion Meadows with local favorite Top Shelf. Celebrate with us. Tickets only $42. It's one big day. Buy tickets at ElmiraJazzFestival.com. Brian, Marion, and Top Shelf. One big day.
It's more than music!
When a child is fighting a critical illness, one truth touches us all. Every child deserves a childhood. A wish sparks a ripple of hope that transforms communities far and wide. And when we grant wishes together, we create a movement of kindness, strength, and unity. Become a wish maker today and be part of a journey that
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson's studio. James Carville actually vowed to abandon the Democrat Party if far-left Hassan Piker becomes its leading voice. "I am not going to be in the same party with Hassan Piker," he said on the Sunday briefing. "If he becomes a force in the Democrat Party, I'm out of here. I have no intention of ever being in the same political party with that guy." Now, Piker, a self-described socialist streamer who campaigned with Democrat Michigan Senate candidate Abdul al-Sahad, has emerged as a leading voice on the left as Democrat socialists gain ground in elections across the country. Piker drew widespread criticism after saying America deserved 9/11 during a stream in 2019. He later said in an interview that he was obviously did not mean America deserved the attacks and defended the viral quote as a critique of U.S. foreign policy. Carville told Fox News, "I can't sit here and tell you for certain how this is going to turn out. But the one thing I can tell you for certain, Hassan Piker and James Carville are not going to be in the same political party. One of us is going to leave. It might even be me." Piker recently named Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez as his preferred Democrat presidential candidate for 2028 and argued there is 0% chance the Democrat nominee will be pro-Israel in any way, shape, or form, as polling shows support for Israel has collapsed among Democrats. The rise of Democrat socialism comes as the DNC faces internal challenges, with Chair Ken Martin grappling with mounting debt. Carville said the DNC will have to just need to fix themselves. Sorry, I got cut off. With several DSA-endorsed candidates winning their respective primaries across the nation, socialism's growing influence has intensified debates within the Democrat Party. This is that civil war we've been talking about. And maybe the two-party system is just going to be under tremendous stress here in the coming months, said Carville. He raised concerns over the far-left candidates, saying in a recent CNN interview that many of them are too hard-headed to know that they're not popular and that people don't like them. Carville also warned that Democrat socialists are dragging the party's brand through the mud. Now, as of right now, Pete Buttigieg, AOC, and Jon Ossoff are pulling ahead of Gavin Newsom and Kamala Harris for a White House run. A hypothetical Democrat primary poll conducted by the Public Sentiment Institute between July 25th and July 29th among 762 likely Michigan voters found former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg leading the pack with 24.2% support. Georgia Senator Jon Ossoff followed at 13.9%, while New York Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez came in third with 10.7%. That left Newsom in fourth place at 10%, narrowly behind Ocasio-Cortez, while Harris trailed the field with just 5.1%. All right, we got to take our last break and then wrap up today's edition of Frankly Speaking. Get your last-minute comments in.
Mark your calendars. The future of agriculture takes center stage at the Youth Livestock Sale, Saturday, August 22nd at the Steuben County Fair. Come support hardworking Junior Ag Society, FFA youth, and independent youths from throughout Steuben County as they auction off the animals they've raised with pride and dedication. Cattle, pigs, goats, chickens, and more. All proceeds of the sale going directly to the youth. Join us Saturday, August 22nd at the Steuben County Fairgrounds. Support the youth, build the future.
Thousands of North Atlantic right whales used to swim along the east coast of the United States and Canada. Collisions with ships and entanglement in fishing gear are killing these magnificent animals every year. They could go extinct in your lifetime. But there's hope. If we act now, before it's too late, join Oceana to save North Atlantic right whales from extinction.
Meteorologist Brandon Weathers. We will start to put the recent wet weather behind us for our Monday morning cloud cover, gradually giving way to some afternoon sun. Temperatures still a bit on the cool side with mid and upper 70s across the area. Here we are then overnight, seeing some areas of fog possible with mid to upper 50s. 82 in sun on Tuesday, getting back closer to average. A slight chance for rain Wednesday, a better chance come Thursday.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. So Empire Report is reporting that the campaign trail in New York's race for governor is paved with luxury. Committees for Governor Kathy Hochul and Bruce Blakeman have billed their campaigns for stays at upscale hotels, swanky fundraising venues, expensive airfare, and meals at exclusive restaurants as both candidates preach to voters about the state's affordability crisis. Hochul's campaign committee, Friends of Kathy Hochul, expensed thousands of dollars in stays over the last year in Beverly Hills, Florida's Palm Beach, Martha's Vineyard, the Hamptons, others, Waldorf, Astoria, and Manhattan. And Blakeman's campaign committee, Blakeman for New York, spent thousands of dollars on boutique hotels outside Buffalo in Greene County, a Victorian hotel in Saratoga Spring, the upscale Atasaga Hotel in Cooperstown, as well as chartered jets, according to the Board of Election Disclosures. These expenditures suggest both candidates are wining and dining wealthy donors at fancy establishments at a time when affordability is a major issue, said Alex Camarda. Camarda said the number of people that traveled, dined, and lodged at campaign expense could make what looks like a ritzy outing more ordinary. Overall, Hochul, a Buffalo-born Democrat, has last year spent close to $7.8 million. Blakeman, a Republican who launched his campaign in December, has spent $4.8 million. Blakeman's spending includes $4.5 million in qualified expenditures eligible to be funded by taxpayer-funded matching funds. This appears to show that Blakeman reported certain transactions as qualified expenditures, so he intends for the public funds to cover these expenses. Now, Bruce Blakeman, over the weekend, released a statement saying Anthony Fauci and Kathy Hochul forced masks on our kids even though children were at virtually zero risk of serious illness from COVID. Look at the damage left behind. Math and reading performance has hit rock bottom, and kids are severely delayed socially. Hochul sacrificed an entire generation's education just to prove her power, and she owes every parent in the state a massive apology for the real lasting harm she inflicted on our kids. When I'm governor, nothing will be more sacred than parents' rights when it comes to their kids, said Bruce Blakeman. He also criticized Hochul over this New York law to block prediction market. Kalshi, is that how you say that, Kalshi? Kathy Hochul is truly the worst governor in America, Blakeman said. Hochul has walked away from a lucrative settlement with Kalshi, a popular commodity predictor site. Hochul left billions on the table that could have been used to cut taxes, hire cops, and invest in education. No wonder New York is last in economic outlook in America. I will stop Hochul's economic death spiral that has made it unaffordable to live and work in New York. However, the lawsuit filed in Manhattan Supreme Court claims Kalshi is illegal running a gambling operation with a state license and putting consumers at risk, saying it has chosen to ignore New York's gambling laws, which exist to protect consumers, prevent problematic gambling, deliver funding for critical public services, and ensure that every company plays by the rules. This choice has consequences. Well, that does it for today's edition of Frankly Speaking. Thank you to Mark Watts from the Chemung County Fair for being on the program. The fair kicks off tomorrow with that night of rock and roll, so don't miss it if you happen to go. I'd love to hear how it went. So again, thank you to Mark Watts. On tomorrow's broadcast, make sure you get your questions in ahead of time. We're going to be talking with former congressman, current New York State Assemblyman, and current chair of the Steuben County Republican Committee, Joe Sempolinski. He'll be live in studio tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, we'll be talking with Griffin Bates, the Steuben County historian, about the upcoming Steuben 250 celebration. So we got a busy week. And join us every weekday morning starting at 6 for Frankly Speaking. Only on WYDC TV Big Fox. We will see you tomorrow morning bright and early. I look forward to it already. Have a great day, everyone.
Making pre-arrangements is one of the best gifts that you can give to your family. When you pre-arrange your funeral, you have taken away all questions and all doubts what your final wishes are. In a cost-free, no-obligation appointment, we can sit down with you and answer any questions that you have. And we will meet you at your home or at the funeral home. Your family doesn't have to tell your story. You can tell your story for yourself.
Visit carpentersphillipsflint.com